please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Sri Lanka declares state of emergency after Buddhist and Muslim groups clash in the city of Kandy. Curfew imposed on certain pockets. State government promises stern action. Those were the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. You're watching CNBC TV18. I'm Arundhati Ramanan and this is Reporter's Diary. Our top focus at this hour, strong global cues propelled a gap-up opening, but markets witnessed strong selling pressure in the last hour of trade. The Nifty closed at its lowest point in 2018 and breached the 10,250 mark. This was the fifth session of negative ending for the March series. The Sensex too ended with cuts of more than 425 points. Mid-caps managed to hold on to the 19,000 mark, while banks underperformed with cuts of 1.5%. On to our other top story this evening, and this one is a CNBC TV18 exclusive. Get set for more changes in the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. CNBC TV18 learns that the government will soon announce further changes to the new framework governing corporate insolvency in India. Sapna Das, who broke that story, joins us now. Sapna, what can we expect?
So what we're given to understand is that a comprehensive review of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is underway. There's already a high-level panel, the Insolvency Law Committee, which is looking into various aspects of further improvement in the IBC. Most likely the recommendations should be in by around between 10 to 15th March is what we're given to understand. Once that is done, the government will go forward either with amendments to the IBC or probably even some of the rules may be tweaked to bring in the new changes. So very quickly, the first off we understand is that some unintended complications have arisen because of probably misinterpretation of Section 29A, and this was a key element in the ordinance that was moved by the government last year, banning promoters from bidding for their stressed assets, especially those who are willful defaulters or there is a case of malfeasance. So within that, we understand that probably some clarity will emerge, at least as far as the related party concerns are there. Now, what it may be, whether it will need amendments or it will come through a rule modification, that is what we have to wait for. But this could be an important change that may be on the cards. Unintended complications that have arisen, government is going to clarify that out of this interpretation of Section 29A. So that's one. The second we understand is that clear timelines are going to be fixed even between the 0 to 180 days resolution process. This is basically to fast track the entire thing. The third we understand is, of course, clarity for home buyers. Are they financial creditors or are they operational creditors? And here, Supreme Court's, opinion will also be probably kept in mind before they go ahead with any kind of a clarity. But the government very clearly saying that the interest of the home buyers will be given a fair deal. Next, we understand, of course, in terms of allowing promoters of SMEs to bid for their assets. Because of the law change that has happened, promoters have been banned, but probably an exception may be made in the case of promoters of MSMEs. Last but not the least, we also understand that cross-border insolvency is also going to be brought into the IBC. So lots of changes are there on the cards. How quickly the government is able to move on this, we have to wait and watch for that.
Absolutely, Sapna. Thank you so much for those details. Now, from the insolvency corner to the GST corner now. The GST Council will be meeting this Saturday. CNBC TV18 learns that the Council is likely to finalize the broad principle of new simplified returns form. Timsi Jaipuria has all the details. Timsi, what are you picking up?
Yes, as you rightly mentioned, the Council is likely to finalize the broad principles for a simplified return form. Remember, currently we are in a three-tier return filing process, that is GSTR 1, 2 and 3, out of which a GSTR 3B, which is a simplified form, was put out, and now there was a task given to the GOM on return simplification to come out with a single form for a single stage filing, and the broad principles will be finalized on March 10th is what I'm learning from sources. Also, sources tell me that the GSTR 3B facility is likely to be extended for 3 months, trying to utilize these 3 months to adjust the new form according to the rule, through the changes which will be required in the rules and the laws, trying to get a legal framework from the Law Ministry for this, and also for the trial runs and modeling of the new form is what the 3 months will be utilized for. Apart from that, the Council is also going to look forward to how to go forward on real estate, to get real estate under the ambit of GST. ATF, natural gas and industrial alcohol will also be discussed to try and get them under GST ambit. Remember, industrial alcohol currently is taxed by states. So the GST Council is likely to discuss the constitution, legality on how, whether states can continue to tax industrial alcohol. Apart from that, also on the agenda will be the GOM's decision for the phased rollout of e-way bill from April 1st. That will be given a go-ahead. And remember, very crucial, a status check update on the falling of revenues that we are seeing since last 3 months. What government can do to try and control the loopholes in the system. Back to you.
All right, Timsy, thank you so much for taking us through all those details. On that note, it is time for us to take a short break. But coming up, no relief for Karthis Chidambaram in the INX media case. More details on the other side of this short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. On to the latest in the INX media case. The trial court has ruled in favour of the CBI and has sent Karthis Chidambaram to another 3 days in the CBI custody. Now, the CBI will have to present him in court on the 9th of March. Ashmit Kumar, who has been tracking the stories with us. Ashmit, what did the court say?
Well, no relief in sight for Karthis Chidambaram. The CBI court today, the special court today, held it very clearly that they will be extending the police custody of Karthis Chidambaram by yet another 3 days. Keep in mind that as of today, Karthis Chidambaram has already completed 6 days in police custody. Now it's been extended by 3 more days. Now, the reason for that is that the CBI made it stand very, very clear that over the last 4 to 5 days, they've been interrogating Karthis Chidambaram and that he has just not been cooperating. He's been evading questions. That's part one. The second thing that CBI put across to the CBI court was, importantly, stating and clarifying before the court that Indrani Mukherjee's statement is not the only piece of evidence that they're relying on, that there are other concrete and substantial, these were the words used, there are other concrete and substantial evidences which have come on board over the last 3 to 4 days, and that requires custodial interrogation. So clearly, the CBI court leaning in favour of the CBI as of this moment, allowing a 3-day extension. Karthis Chidambaram will have to appear once again on March 9th. That's when his bail application and expectedly CBI's plea for extension will be heard. So clearly, the pain continuing for Karthis Chidambaram. Back to you.
Absolutely no relief there for Karthis Chidambaram. Thank you so much for those details, Ashmit. On to the developments from day 2 of the second leg of the budget session. PNB scam and demands a special status for Andhra Pradesh continue to disrupt both houses of parliament even today. Congress MPs led by Rahul Gandhi staged protests over the PNB fraud both inside and outside the parliament. In an interesting development, Rahul Gandhi was also seen supporting TDP MPs as they protested for a special package for Andhra Pradesh. Rahul's support comes despite TDP being one of the key allies of the NDA government. The Congress Vice President urged the government to fulfill TDP's demands and ensure doing the same if the Congress is elected to power in 2019. And on to the latest in the PNB fraud case. Investigating agencies are widening their probe into the matter. We learned from sources that Serious Fraud Investigation Office has issued summons addressing Chanda Kochar of ICICI Bank and Shikha Sharma of Axis Bank in connection with loans given to Mehul Choksi's Gitanjali Group. Utkarsh Chaturvedi joins us now with the details. Utkarsh, what is the SFIO seeking from these banks?
So, Arundhati, these letters are being sent to the respective banks and they are addressed to the managing directors of both the companies, Shikha Sharma and Chanda Kochar. Now, what SFIO is looking at is, let me give you a perspective of the case here. 5,200 crore rupees is the amount which is being given to the Gitanjali Group companies as a credit facility to 31 banks and a consortium of 31 banks. And now what SFIO is really looking at is the kind of interest payments which has been done by the Gitanjali Group in this whole process. Also, what SFIO is looking here is that what is the kind of collaterals which has been given by the Gitanjali Group in this case. What is SFIO probing? SFIO is probing is that whether any of these funds which have been given as a credit facility are being used anywhere else, and are the funds diverted on the name of credit facility. This is what SFIO is probing. In fact, it was on the 22nd of February only that SFIO has registered a case. They have also also, in fact, called in the PNB current MD Sunil Mehta for questioning in the same purpose. But when it comes to ICICI Bank and Axis Bank, it is the bank representatives which have been called, and the letter is addressed to both these MDs and is the initial stage of investigation which SFI is doing at this point of time.
So we'll have to wait and watch how this unfolds. Thank you so much for those details, Utkarsh. Moving on, US President Donald Trump's decision to slap tariffs on steel and aluminium imported by his country may not trigger a global trade war. That's the view coming in from leading economists Kenneth Rogoff and Ian Bremmer in separate conversations with CNBC. Both Rogoff and Bremmer played down the concerns that Trump's tariff decision will lead to any serious ramification.
I tend to think we will see a version of this tariff, but I'm not sure that there's more to follow. He has to do it for his base. And let's not forget, if Bernie Sanders were president and possibly the next if there's a Democratic American president, they're going to want a very similar thing. Their base is screaming for it. So we're going to get it, but I don't necessarily think it's going to turn into a trade war. It's quantitatively not that big in the United States.
I don't think it's going to trade war because, frankly, aside from Trump's tweets, really nobody wants that kind of escalatory continued round of protectionism. So look, it doesn't mean Trump is going to suddenly do an about-face and say, OK, I'm not going to put these tariffs on. But it's very different to have a single round and where we don't know where we end up and then suddenly say that we're in a new protectionist environment. I think we're not.
On that note, it is time for us to take another short break. But coming up, ice cream majors expect 20% growth in volumes between April and June. More details on the other side of the short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The TRAI chairman R.S. Sharma has expressed his disappointment over incumbent telecom companies challenging the telecom regulator's recent tariff order on predatory pricing. In an exclusive conversation with Ashmit Kumar, Sharma said that fixing tariffs were entirely in the telecom regulator's domain. Not just that, Sharma also said that it was unfortunate that telcos are creating rhetoric than availing of legal remedies.
This tariff order has been issued, while it certainly has been done after a huge amount of consultation. One of the primary focus, and I don't think anybody can deny that. See, while tariffs are under forbearance, you can, play whatever you want to offer, etc., etc. There are certain boundaries. One boundary is the boundary of transparency. Your tariffs must be understandable to a normal consumer, right? They should be accessible. They should be. So we have defined the attributes of transparency. Ultimately, if as a consumer you don't understand what the tariff is, you will be cheated, right? So therefore, it is keeping the consumer at the center of this entire debate. Unfortunately, we all talk of TSPs or XYZ. We don't talk of the consumer so often. Also, let me also say that this particular way of, first creating all kinds of allegations and making allegations, and then, going to the court. For example, the same thing happened about a year back when a huge, halla was created saying that TRAI was favoring an incumbent, right? And then some of the telcos went to the Honorable TD Set. And Honorable TD Set has recently delivered a judgment in which they have dismissed the petitions of some of the telcos and have held that and have upheld the order of TRAI. That is one example. Second one, where now this whole issue is being created. And then some time back, I think yesterday only, the matter was debated before the Honorable TD Set. And Honorable TD Set had not given them any interim relief. And of course, the matter is admitted and this will be argued. My position has been that it is, let's say, a regulator issues an order after a consultation in a transparent manner. If any entity is aggrieved by that order, the appropriate course of action for that entity should be to approach an appellate forum, which is the Honorable TD Set or the Honorable High Court or whatever, depending on what kind of order it is, what kind of is it regulation or it's a TTO. So therefore, I find this not really a great idea that you first criticize, make allegations, etc., etc. I mean, that's not the way things should be done. The decent way is to challenge it in an appropriate court.
On to some breaking news that's flashing on your screens. Nirav Modi has moved the Delhi High Court against the Enforcement Directorate, challenging the attachment of properties by them. His counsel will mention the matter before the court for listing tomorrow. That's all we have now, but we'll bring you the updates as and when we get them. Moving on, the Met Department has forecasted a scorching summer in 2018. Ice cream companies, however, aren't perturbed. CNBC TV18 learns that ice cream majors are expecting to clock a 20% volume growth in the period between April and June. Priya Sheth joins us now. Priya, summer 2018 may be too hot to handle, and the ice cream companies are gearing to make full use of it. What are you picking up?
Well, it's the orange candy that I'm having, but there are lots of new flavors to look out for this season. In fact, with the mercury rising, there's a lot more demand for ice creams from people like you and me this summer. In fact, what we do pick up from our sources is that ice cream majors are eyeing a 20% kind of growth as far as volumes are concerned this summer. That's the period between April to June 2018. And what's really going to drive this volume growth is premiumization, new launches, as well as better cold chain infrastructure in Tier 2 as well as in Tier 3 cities. But of course, when we did speak to several of the companies, we understand from sources that Amul is looking at about 8 to 10 new products this summer. We understand Vadilal is looking at launching about 15 new products this summer. And do remember that most of the premium launches are likely to be made in the larger cities, while the small ticket impulse launches like this candy are likely to take place in smaller Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Among the variants that are most in demand and they're going to be launched, there could be dry fruit variants, traditional variants like kulfis, as well as dark chocolate variants that we can look forward to in the summer. In fact, we did reach out to several of the ice cream majors. Amul said that they expect a 15 to 20% increase as far as volumes are concerned in the ice cream category. HUL said that they have planned several innovations targeting all sections of consumers, and they're expecting a good response from new product launches in a premium category. Vadilal Industries said that they expect good growth as far as demand is concerned in the ice cream segment, and they expect traction in cone, carry home, as well as a stick ice cream category. So I'm going to have my ice cream before it melts in this hot summer.
Absolutely, Priya. I was just going to tell you, don't let that ice cream melt. And I am looking forward to all those new flavors. Thank you so much for those details, Priya. But with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Reporter's Diary. Many thanks for watching. Up next is Money, Money, Money.